When I'm not feeling grateful for surviving yet another truly redneck Florida 4th of July. I like to answer questions that I get on YouTube, so let's get to it. So I named my guitar after my old girlfriend. Is this normal? And should I introduce my guitar by my old girlfriend's name at open mic night with my new girlfriend in the audience? I think that's normal, so long as you named your guitar after your old girlfriend while she was your current girlfriend and things have just moved on. Now, I also don't really think it's necessary to have to introduce your guitar at open mic night, but I'm kind of an all or nothing guy, so if you're gonna go for that, I would also introduce my guitar and all my accessories and also name my accessories after old girlfriends and just kind of see how that plays out. So definitely try that out and get back to me, let me know how it goes. What are your thoughts on St. Vincent as a songwriter and a guitarist? I enjoy her music, but sometimes I wonder if my appreciation is at least partially due to me being in love with her because she's goddamn ravishing and rad AF. Yeah, so I actually have the same kind of problem. I'm absolutely in love with Annie Clark of St. Vincent. I think she's a monster player. She is actually the sole reason I went out and I bought that Music Man Albert Lee HH, and now she's actually got her signature guitar. And yeah, St. Vincent, fantastic guitar player, fantastic songwriter. That being said, she's getting a little weird nowadays, almost a little too cool for school. I remember I was listening to a podcast with her, and they're asking her about her signature Music Man guitar that came out, I think, last year or something like that. And she was talking about the neck, because the Music Man necks are so awesome. She's talking about the Albert Lee neck because they put the same neck on her signature guitar. And she was like, yeah, I used to have this old guitar that I played with right before this, and I don't really remember the name. And that's BS. She totally knew that was the Albert Lee HH because she's talked about it in many, many interviews and stuff from years gone by. So I think she's trying to act a little too cool for school, postmodern-ish, but I will always love Annie Clark. As, you know, the kind of typical thing. It's like, oh, I prefer her earlier stuff. But I also do like some of the electronic stuff. I think her collaborating with David Byrne from Talking Heads, she did kind of like a duo album with him, kind of messed her up in the head a little bit, but I love Annie, I believe in her, and I think she'll bring it back around, and I'm always excited to check out new stuff from Annie Clark and St. Vincent, so definitely check out some of those albums if you haven't already. Her voice is amazing. His guitar playing is just good, not great. I mean, thanks, man. I guess, is that like a compliment? Did you have to like add that it wasn't great, it was just good? Whatever. Did you ever try to check out a producer in the same way you mentioned checking out bands' catalogs? So first of all, this is a question from the great Jens Larsen, who is a phenomenal guitar teacher who has like a strong influence on jazz. So I'm going to link you to his channel if you haven't checked it out already, because he is just a beast jazz teacher. So check that out if you're interested at all. He's probably actually the second best guitar teacher on YouTube, in my estimation. Way better than Ian. But he actually has a really good point here that checking out producers of albums that you like is almost a better way to find music in a similar vein than even just like following artists. Is something that I discovered. Like allmusic.com is a really great resource because you can kind of check out the albums that you like really like, and you can kind of see who's involved, like the credits for everybody, and then it can link you to other stuff that they've done. So kind of like producer chasing is how I found out about Danger Mouse, Brian Burton, who's done a lot of cool stuff. And he's done like a lot of, you know, he did like Gorillaz, Demon Days with like a million other things. But he's got like a long discography of stuff that maybe you haven't heard of. And I really like a lot of that stuff. Same with mixing engineers. I remember I was looking at some of the Queens of the Stone Age producers, and I also found out that like the same guy worked with like Soundgarden and like a bunch of other bands that I loved. His name is Joe Barresi. That's how I kind of found out who he was, just kind of like checking out the AllMusic credits, and then just going and finding other stuff that he's worked on is a great way to find new music that's gonna sound what maybe like you think is mostly the band, but it's really a lot of times you'll find out it's like an engineer or a producer that's kind of like behind the sound and just the structure of an album. So if you've never kind of thought about who's producing the music that you really like, definitely take a second, read the credits, and kind of see what else they've done. Is it bad that I wished you offended more people so I could watch your rebuttal videos? No, it's not bad at all. In fact, it's something that I think about a lot. I try to take the high road a lot of the time. It's a lonely road indeed, but I really kind of secretly would love more beef with people. And specifically, I think sometime in 2017, a goal of mine is to like create some kind of YouTube beef or rivalry with another musician or a guitar teacher or something. So if any of you have any suggestions on how I can maybe enrage somebody, please let me know. What is your favorite album of 2017 thus far? Great question. A lot of good stuff has come out this year, but I'm going to go with Jamiroquai's Automaton. Fantastic album, with kind of the exception of the title track. That's the only one I skip on that whole album. It is like just, it is so funky. Paul Turner is like the bass god, just laying it down the whole time. Really, Jamiroquai, just kind of like a legendary band. Love those guys. If you haven't really heard of them, check them out. They're not as big in the States as maybe I feel they should be, or as big as they are in like other parts of the world. But fantastic catalog, and the new one is just a great addition to the lineup of what they've done so far. Thanks for answering my question. Having all those discographies on my iPod is not all rainbows and sunshine, though. I used to be the music man because I had something for everybody. Whenever I would be in the car with someone, I would put on something they liked. This week I had a 6-hour drive with colleagues, and now that I'm trying to discover new music, my catalog was not that accessible for everyone. It's filled to the brim with blues, classic rock, metal, etc. With one of my colleagues asking if I haven't got anything they play on the radio, we decided maybe it's better just to turn on the radio. Do you ever dare to play your own music in the car with people whose musical taste you're not familiar with? Absolutely. Every time I'm in the car with somebody different, I see that as a challenge to just forcefully just give my musical taste, just empower them, overpower them with musical taste to spread the word. Which, I mean, since you're subscribed to this channel, obviously you have great musical taste yourself. So I think it's kind of like our job. It is our duty to take a good musical taste and spread it wherever we can. So if any of you are like Uber or Lyft drivers, you know, get it off the top 40 stuff, roll the dice, take a chance, spread the word, because you never know. It's like planting like a seed and that growing into a tree, and then that tree flowers, blooms, seeds are passed all over the world, and then eventually you might actually have rock music again. So you never really know how it'll affect people, so spread the word, get it out there, and make people listen to different stuff. For listening homework this week, I'm going to throw you to a guy who is not nearly as widely known as he absolutely should be. His name is Gabriel Kahane. I think I'm pronouncing his last name right. I might not be. Because there's no way to actually find out, because his Wikipedia page is so sparse, it's criminal. But really awesome singer-songwriter. He plays guitar, piano, a lot of stuff. His arrangements are just tasty stuff. Almost kind of like, the track that I'm going to link you to is an acoustic. It kind of sounds like a mix of like maybe like Paul Simon, Elliott Smith-ish, but his whole catalog is really, really interesting. The album that this song is on is actually just kind of like a concept album about like different places throughout Los Angeles that he kind of like, you know, made stories into. Again, if you're into like a storytelling vibe with cool, non-traditional chord progressions and voicings, definitely check out Gabriel because he's a beast. And also any other questions you have or comments, hit me up in the comments section, Instagram, Twitter, or the website, and I'll get back to you all as soon as I can. Thanks a lot.